Welcome to the Ripple Effect Martial Arts Podcast.
All right. Hello, Ripple Effect family. Thanks for listening in. This is Master Macy, and today I'm here with Master Macy and Miss Kris and Miss Crystal and Miss Chirstina, who are all part of the Ripple Effect team. But even more so, they are all moms. They are all martial artists themselves, and they all have kids who train. So thank you guys so much for hopping on here and taking the time to talk with us today. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. So I'm going to ask just a couple questions, and if it kind of sparks something that it makes you think about something, then go ahead and you can jump in. The first thing I want to ask is, what inspired you guys to train? Because all three of you guys train with your kids. I know Miss Kris and Miss Crystal, your kids trained first. You guys have Miss Kris, you have 3-year black belts. Miss Crystal, you have a newly black belt daughter, and you guys started training later. And Miss Chirstina was kind of the opposite. You started training, and then you got your kids in the program. So, who wants to go first? What inspired you guys to start training?
Go ahead.
Go.
Okay, perfect. We came about Ripple Effect through an orientation booth at my kid's school. And he had just finished physical therapy and I guess graduated out of what is considered their program. And his therapist had recommended something non-contact sport for him, something that would really help him continue to grow and improve. And we came across Ripple Effect the next day, literally, which was godsend. We came in for an evaluation, and I personally was 6 months postpartum, and I was beating myself up doing CrossFit to force myself to be active, and it just wasn't working for me mentally. I was just not in the right headspace. And so when I saw how the evaluation went, I did do it with them, with my kids. I was like, I think I like this better, much better than CrossFit. I felt like I wasn't going to be mentally beating myself up for not keeping up with everybody in the class setting. And so it was really awesome. And I enrolled with the kids. And it's just kind of been a great journey to do something like this with the kids. And I kind of feel like they look at me when I'm doing things or competing, and they're like, I want to be just like that. Mm-hmm. So I love that I get to inspire them and encourage them to do martial arts and keep going.
Well, and you and Mia Bella just ran her first 5K together this last week, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Yes. So I think like that piece of staying active and staying healthy and setting an amazing role model for your kids is one of the biggest benefits that one of the things that I love about training with my kids. I think also we tend to think about that in respect to kids a lot, that martial arts is great because it's so individual based, but that's true for adults. And sometimes we gloss over that piece, but you're exactly right. Like, we are all as adults in different places with what we need to work on and what we need. And sometimes as moms, after having kids, you need to just be able to do something that's for yourself, and something, you're in a weird place right after having a kid, right?
Definitely.
And so just being able to do something that's at your own pace, and you're not comparing yourself to the person lifting right next to you, but instead you're comparing yourself to what you did the day before, and just feeling better at the end of every class. So I love that. All right. What about you, Miss Kris? What inspired you to start training?
Oh, well, we encountered Ripple Effect Martial Arts at a kids festival. My first interaction was with a newly minted program director of Miss Allison. And she talked to us, and my kids were so excited. They were like, we want 2 free weeks of karate. And my husband and I were like, right. And Miss Allison sent us right over from where this little kids festival was, right over to the school. And Master Wagner, in true Master Wagner fashion, just did a stellar job of representing exactly everything that Ripple Effect Martial Arts was. And I was blown away with feeling like I had walked into like my cousin's house, and just felt like I was part of a family. And sitting on the sidelines for that first year, other parents or Miss Allison or Miss Chrissy or even Master Wagner from time to time would be like, when are you going to get out there, ma'am? And be like, oh, no, I'm not athletic. I can't do this. And I sat there for a full year. And I think finally what did it for me was my youngest, Miss Sophie Zay, pulled me out onto the mats during the Moms Train Free. And I think they were pretty much newly minted blue belts at that point. And I jumped out and did the class with them and realized that it was absolutely something that I could do. And I think just having that little bit of confidence boost made all the difference in the world, because I'd been watching them do these kicks and start to kick higher and punch harder and jump and run faster, and just watching their confidence build. And seeing that, I think, was probably the biggest impetus, was seeing the big change that I'd seen in all three of my kids. Just finally got me out on the mats and kept me out on the mats.
Yeah, well, and with Mother's Day approaching, I know there's a lot of moms that are going to see this on the sidelines. They're going to see the Moms Train Free, and they're going to have the instructors pushing them and trying to drag them out on the floor. And obviously, for us as a martial arts school, we love obviously having parents involved in it. But for us as instructors, it really is important for us, because when the parents do it with the kids, it completely changes the game for us. It allows us to now make it a family sport where everybody's really truly invested. And that means when they go home, they practice together, they're going through the worksheets together, they're going through the book reviews together, and all of these things. So it really does then become a family affair. And even though moms can do that from the sideline, when they jump right in, it makes a big difference for our instructors. So what would you say to the moms, to encourage them to get out earlier? Because some moms wait till they're like orange belts and then green belts, and I've seen some wait till they're black belts, right? And so what would you say to a mom to get them out and engaged early on?
One of the comments that I've been able to make to a couple of the moms since coming on board as part of the Ripple Effect team has just been that encouragement of don't wait. It's a lot harder to catch up to your kids, and you don't want to be running and feeling rushed through your own journey. So if you do it together, all of you are starting from the same point. All of you are going to meet the same challenges with the curriculum. Everybody's going to be learning the same thing at the same time. And it's a lot easier to encourage each other when you're at the same belt rank than it is to feel like you're catching up and feel like you're rushing. And just encouraging them that, yes, they absolutely can get out there and do it, and they should get out there and do it. And just the biggest thing is don't wait. Don't have that regret of sitting there for a whole year.
It's funny you say that, because I think I have heard every parent who joins their kid later, everyone is happy they did it at some point, whenever it is, right? But everybody says, I wish I had started earlier. Okay, Miss Crystal, I'm going to ask you kind of a little in a different way, and I'm going to kind of call you out on this one. So as most students do, as 99% of students do, by the time they get to black belt, they go through a period where it is hard, and where whatever might be going on, it might be things outside of the karate school, it might be things physically, it might be mentally, it might be the curriculum, whatever it is, where we get demotivated and discouraged. And that's something that probably all three of you guys have dealt with, just like us ourselves with our kids, have, had to work with your kids in helping them overcome that motivation. And I know, Miss Crystal, you kind of had one of those moments recently. It was getting tough. You're getting up there, you're getting close to black belt. What would you say, or how do you think that you going through that experience made you better able to help Aubrey through that?
I did. I was like self-doubt, a lot of self-doubt. I didn't believe I could do it. And then I feel like if I can do it, then she can see that I can do it, and she can persevere through the rest of her journey up to second degree. Because she knows this is hard for me, especially with a knee injury. It's a little bit more difficult. I have to modify a lot of things. So, but I don't try to show her that I'm struggling. And I just try to show her that, that I can do it, and that she can do anything that she sets her mind to, really. She's come this far, 6 years in the making, and she's done amazing. There were times that she wanted to quit, and I wouldn't let her. Absolutely not. I made her persevere. She did, and I think she's happy for that. She loves karate. she loves what she does. She loves her karate family. So I think if she would have quit, she probably would have really like been mad at herself for it. So
Yeah,
I'm just happy that she persevered through it and she's continuing.
I love it.
Yeah. You know, a lot of moms and dads, when they join the program, they think they're doing their kids a favor. They're like, oh, I'm joining because I'm going to help encourage them or I'm going to develop them. And then there's this realization thing that happens where they're like, wow, there's something in it for me. And I know, like Miss Chirstina, you started with that in mind. But, you know, for a lot of parents, they're like jumping out there because one, they were forced by their instructor, or two, the kids begged them, and they're
Strongly
finally like, okay.
encouraged. Not
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, when you have those moments, or you realize, wow, there's something big in it for me, I think that's important to speak to. So who can tell me something that, you know, was maybe after the fact realization of, wow, this is really benefiting me?
I think after I got my first belt, like I was like, I don't know what the word, I was just addicted to it. Like I like the rush. I like the rush of it, you know, because I'm very like
Post-test high.
yeah. Like when I was
Just run
younger, I was very sports oriented. So I like did all sports, anything that I could get my hands on. So, and I actually did karate when I was younger. When I was Aubrey's age, I did karate and I loved it. Like it was the best thing ever. So being able to get out there, and Mr. Paul, I have him to thank because he kind of pushed me out there. He's like, you can do it, old woman. But
Yes, he does call us old
Only
women.
Mr. Paul could say that, by the way.
With love.
it's absolutely with love, and he loves all of us and we love him. But yeah, you know, he like pushed us to have that mental state to show us that we can do it and not be scared to mess up if we do. And we do. We mess up sometimes, but it's all in human nature and we learn from it.
Absolutely.
You know, there's
How
a
about
huge.
you, Miss Kris?
Go ahead, Miss Kris.
I think that the biggest thing that I've taken away from it is just the growth in my own self-discipline. I was thinking about that a little bit this morning, and I think it's easy for us, especially as moms, to forget that we can still grow and it's okay for us to take time for ourselves. So I had fun on the mats. It was a little bit weird at times being the only adult in the class with a bunch of 7 you know, and you'd get kind of strange looks from the younger kids out there on the mats, but just showing up and doing it and practicing at home, knowing that my kids were watching me do this and that they've been watching me grow through this as well. But I think the self-discipline has probably been the biggest thing for me.
Good. I wanna kind of add to something both of you guys hinted at, and this is a big thing as a parent. It's really important. There's a piece of vulnerability as a parent that's valuable for our kids to see, right? And sometimes we get so fixated in wanting to set a perfect example and be a perfect role model that we don't, and you know, some parents are guilty of not apologizing or not admitting to making a mistake or things like that. And this is different, but it's the same thing. And I think that for all of your kids, they train also, and they know how hard it is, and they don't have the expectations that anybody's going to be perfect because they know what goes into it. And to see you putting yourself out there and getting out of your comfort zone and making mistakes and not giving up and being able to learn from that, like, it is setting such an incredible example in so many ways. So you guys are all very, very impressive moms, and we're so grateful not only to have you and your families in our program, but to have you guys as role models for all of our other moms and for all of our kids, for all of our karate families. So thank you guys so much. And actually, by the time this is out on our podcast, it's probably going to be after Mother's Day. But so happy belated Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day
I
to
actually have
you.
one more question, because you know, I love watching when the families start competing against each other, whether it's they start learning each other or they try to one up each other on their you know, power on their kicks or their forms, or even in competition or whatever it is, and it's healthy competition, but it probably is like something that you go home and you're like, hey, you guys probably talk up, you know, talk it up, or anything like that. What's your favorite part of competing with your kids, or is there a moment where you really loved that you can highlight?
I think for me, it's when we're doing sparring, especially in the class. So I'm a little higher ranking than the kids, but when we do like the sparring seminars with them and they get to, we switch partners and they get to work with me for a little bit. My kids are scared to do it with me, but I always encourage them to keep doing because I feel like if I I've explained to them, you're scared of competing with me and other people higher ranking, then that is a challenge for you and you should accept it wholeheartedly. Like go for it. So when I'm with them and I see that they're scared and holding back, I'm like, no, kick, punch, keep going. Come on. I'm waiting. And then I'll throw a few blocks and throw hits their way. And then they get a little more comfortable in the setting. But I love that I'm able to challenge them in a fun setting without, tearing their own personal confidence down.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I haven't been able to spar or anything with Aubrey yet because I work when they do the sparring seminar. So I don't get a chance to get out there, but I can't wait until I can because it's going to be fun.
You and I got to be partners though Tuesday night in class, Miss Crystal. We played Ninja Leap and we were competing with all the little kids. We didn't win, but it was fun.
It was so much fun. Thank you for getting me out there.
Yeah, thanks for doing it with me. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
I think Master Macy, anything else before we go, sir?
No, ma'am.
All right. Thank you guys for being rock star moms, and I will see you guys very soon. Happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to the Ripple Effect Martial Arts Podcast. Find podcasts and more at rippleeffectmartialarts.com.